Welcome to the online training for the Raptor Monitoring Volunteer Program with Colorado Parks and Wildlife, our largest citizen science program across the state. The Raptor Monitoring Program is facilitated by members of the Resource Stewardship Team. Our mission is to protect the wildlife, natural features, and cultural resources in state parks throughout Colorado, balancing conservation with recreation. The Raptor Monitoring online training is the first step to joining the program. In this module, you will have an overview of the program and learn about ethics of raptor monitoring. Next, you will learn about the two monitoring protocols used, nest monitoring and non-nest monitoring. Finally, you will learn how to enter your observations in the online data portal, Zoho. After completing these 4 modules, please complete the training quiz. Once complete, a member of the Resource Stewardship Team will contact you to connect you with a specific park where you will focus your monitoring efforts. The data that raptor monitoring volunteers collect is used to support stewardship and decision-making for public lands. Raptors, as well as their nests, eggs, and young, are protected by various federal and state laws. Park managers have the responsibility to ensure that activities occurring in state parks are in alignment with these laws. In the past, information provided by raptor monitoring volunteers has allowed park managers to seasonally close hiking trails or climbing routes during the nesting season for sensitive species, and time trail work, weed control, and forest management activities so raptors are not disturbed. Raptor monitoring volunteers also provide information about the status of state park ecosystems. Raptors are keystone predators, which means they alter the composition of the biological community by preventing the overpopulation of prey species and by preventing an associated reduction in biodiversity. Raptors are carnivores, and their prey base is comprised of fish, mammals, reptiles, insects, and other birds. A decline in local raptor populations may reflect a decline in prey populations, which may be linked to declines at lower levels of the food web. Additionally, raptors need different habitats for nesting, foraging, and roosting, so greater raptor species diversity may indicate a greater diversity of habitat for other organisms. Finally, raptors are charismatic creatures that are relatively easy to watch and a lot of fun to monitor. Raptor monitoring will help you learn more about the habitat and wildlife in your local state park, and it's a great way to get involved in citizen science and public land stewardship in a meaningful way. There are 2 primary goals of raptor monitoring: to identify and document raptor nests and raptor breeding activities, and to document raptors using park resources and habitats year-round. These 2 goals are directly connected to the 2 protocols involved in raptor monitoring, the nesting monitoring protocol and the non-nest monitoring protocol. Nests are monitored during the breeding season, which is generally March through August in Colorado. Non-nest monitoring generally occurs between the months of September and March. The timing of these 2 protocols should be viewed as loose guidelines, however, as the breeding season for some raptors begins as early as January. The specific timing of these 2 protocols will depend on the raptor species that are nesting in your park. You will devise a general strategy for nest monitoring specific to your park and the species that are found in it. You will learn more about how to create a monitoring plan in modules 2 and 3. This table shows the specific timing of the breeding season for different raptor species. C indicates courtship behavior is occurring, while X indicates nesting activity has begun. You can find this table on page 6 of the Volunteer Handbook. During the time of courtship behavior, raptor monitors should pay special attention to the behavior of raptor pairs and should consider increasing the frequency of monitoring. During times of nesting activity, monitors should survey mapped nests using the nesting protocol. As a raptor monitor, you'll be provided with a specialized map of your park showing the boundaries of observation zones and the locations of known raptor nests. Maps are updated at the beginning of each calendar year, as well as throughout the year as needed. The Resource Stewardship Office will email updated maps to monitoring teams as necessary. Please make sure that when you are given an updated map, you discard your old maps. The most recent versions are always available for download from the Raptor Monitoring Database, Zoho. You will learn how to use Zoho in Module 4, and Zoho instructions are found on page 21 of the Volunteer Handbook. Each park is divided into multiple observation zones, which are outlined in blue on the raptor monitoring maps. Within each zone is an observation point, shown on the park maps as a pink circle with black crosshairs. Each observation zone is labeled with a number. The zone numbering on the maps has been abbreviated to the last 2 digits of the full 6-character zone code. For example, the full code for Zone 3 at Stagecoach State Park is STG003. You will use the full 6-character zone code when entering your non-nesting observations into Zoho, the online database. All nests have been assigned a nest code. In the example shown here, the nest in the northeast part of Stagecoach State Park has a nest code of STGN for nest 001. All nests have been assigned a nest code. In the example shown here, the nest in the northeast part of Stagecoach State Park has a nest code of STGN for nest 001. In addition to your raptor monitoring park map, you'll need a bird guide or raptor guidebook. Suggestions for bird and raptor field guides are listed on page 7 of the volunteer handbook. Good binoculars, at least 7 to 10 times magnification, though spotting scopes can also be extremely helpful. And data sheets for nesting and non-nesting protocols. We ask that monitors carry data sheets and fill them out to ensure that all the appropriate data is collected at the time of the observation. It's very easy to forget small details if you try and enter data later on without a complete data sheet. Printable versions of the field data sheets can be found in Appendix E of the Volunteer Handbook and on Zoho. You're welcome to bring a GPS unit or rangefinder while monitoring if you like, but this is not required. Raptors, like most birds, are active predominantly in the morning. Monitor as close to sunrise as you are willing and try to finish before noon. Monitor with someone else, or let someone else know of your monitoring plans so they can alert relevant parties in case of an accident. Inform your park management of your monitoring schedule. Always notify park staff in advance if you will be going off trail. Monitoring raptors, especially nests, can cause negative impacts despite our best intentions. Therefore, volunteers must make all efforts to limit disturbance to nesting raptors and other wildlife while performing surveys. Don't get too close to the nests. Monitor nests from outside species-specific buffer distances given in Table 2 on page 7 of the Volunteer Handbook. Minimize your presence on the landscape. Use your vehicle as a blind. Stay behind cover, or keep low to the ground whenever possible. Use your optics. Your scope or binoculars will get you a lot closer to the bird than your eyes will. If you notice that your presence is causing distress to the raptors, leave the area immediately. Signs of distress include flying erratically back and forth, tail pumping, beak gaping, and distress calls. Not being able to collect data is better than disturbing raptors, especially during the breeding season. There may be times when you decide to stop monitoring a nest if monitoring cannot be done without causing distress. In some cases, the fact that a raptor is defending the area of a nest is sufficient evidence that the nest is actively being used, and we might not need more detailed observations. In these cases, we would expect you to collect less data to avoid disturbing the raptors. If you would like additional guidance for monitoring a particularly sensitive raptor, please contact the Resource Stewardship Office. Never use recorded bird calls to attract birds. This can cause distress and cause birds to expend valuable energy defending their territory from a supposed intruder that would be better spent on feeding, caring for themselves, caring for their young, and can also make them more vulnerable to other predators. Raptor species have been reported depredated by other larger raptors when coaxed out with playback, and have even been hit by cars when flying low, crossing roads to try to find the intruder. Volunteers in the state park's Raptor Monitoring Volunteer Program have knowledge of nesting locations for many sensitive and protected species. Nesting activity and locations cannot be shared with anyone outside CPW or the monitoring program. Data collected while monitoring, for example, sightings of raptors, especially of nesting raptors, may not be shared on websites, listservs, eBird, iNaturalist, social media, or any other public format. Colorado Parks and Wildlife has data sharing protocols that are used to share data with outside entities. If you're looking for a place to share your photos taken while monitoring, share cool observations, ask questions, or have conversations with monitors at other parks, we maintain a closed Facebook group called CPW Raptor Monitoring Program that is available to our volunteers. Simply request to join. Keep group sizes to 4 people or less. Large groups will alert raptors to your presence and prevent them from behaving normally. If you observe park visitors viewing or photographing a nest from within the species-specific buffer distance, you're welcome to politely inform the person of recommended buffer distances, or provide them with the CPW Guidelines for Wildlife Viewing and Photography card, which are available from your park or from resource stewardship staff. Violations of park rules, such as dogs off leash or walking off trail, can be reported to park staff. Any concerns about general park use or park management, such as construction projects, trail maintenance and closures, or park boundary issues, should be communicated to resource stewardship staff, specifically the Raptor Program Coordinator, who will work with park management to address these concerns. Thank you very much for your interest in this program, and we're looking forward to having you out in the field soon. If you have any questions, please contact the resource stewardship staff at the phone number or email listed here. Thank you.